I was in REI about a few months ago with my 5-year-old son when he saw a bike that he really wanted. Now, as a father, I really want him to also have that bike. But when he told me that we needed to take it home, I asked him, Carter, how are you gonna pay for that? He told me he didn't have any money, but he said, Dad, you do. What I didn't want to tell my son is that I do not have $500 cash just sitting in my pocket. And it hit me in this everyday scenario that even though I love my son and I want to give him everything that he wants, and we'll just table the fact that he can't always get what he wants because that's not healthy for a little 5-year-old human being, we'll table that for now. But it hit me in that moment that I can't give my son what I don't have. And it's true not just of a bike at REI, but it's true on an emotional level. It's true on a spiritual level. Parents know that you can't give your kids what you don't have. And people will come into your life, in and out of your life, with all sorts of demands, all sorts of needs and hopes and wants. And the truth is that you can't give somebody what you don't have. You may have a friend walking through divorce right now, and you don't have the tools to help them, to come alongside them. You may have friends who experienced trauma when they were very young, and you can't give them what you don't have. And we actually see this in Scripture as well. A very famous story in Scripture found in John chapter 6. Jesus is preaching, and there are thousands of people listening. And then comes the point for the meal, and his disciples start freaking out. They're like, Jesus, how are we going to feed all of these people? The disciples were trying to figure out how to give these people something they didn't have. And they even tell Jesus it would take more than half a year's wages to buy all of the food for this. But then in verse 8, it says this: another of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, spoke up. Here is a boy with 5 small barley loaves and 2 small fish. But how far will they go among so many? Jesus said, have the people sit down. There was plenty of grass in that place, and they sat down. About 5,000 men were there. Jesus then took the loaves, gave thanks, and distributed to those who were seated as much as they wanted. He did the same with the fish. You see, the disciples in that moment were trying to figure out how to give the people something they didn't have. They didn't have enough food, and they didn't have enough money to buy food. But the little boy in this story, one of the most famous little boys in all of Scripture, understood that he couldn't give what he didn't have, but if he gave to Jesus the little bit that he did have, it's Jesus is the one who promises to multiply. It's Jesus is the one who promises there will be enough. So whatever you're walking through in life, whether you've got little kids depending on you, whether you've got friends whose lives are falling apart, whether your own family's falling apart, whatever you are walking through, I want to encourage you that you cannot give somebody what you don't have. And a lot of us do not have the tools, the emotional capacity, availability to come alongside people. But Jesus promises that if you give what little you do have to him, he will make a way and he will make it enough.